Peace, peace, peace. Peace to the family. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, y'all. Peace, love, and light. Peace. What's good? What's good? Peace. I'm in my place of peace, right? It's my little sanctuary. It's my place of peace. This is where I have to come to like get a clear thought. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much going through my mind right now. I had to get into a very peaceful place so I could have this conversation, because if I don't have this conversation, I'm gonna go crazy. Now, I'll show it, right? Instagram, they won't even let me post my convo. I had so much on my mind, I had to type it out, but they won't even allow me to get my stuff posted, you know? All day, they just been blocking my posts. And, I mean, I'm clearly understanding.
Man, listen, what if I told you that money is not real? Wait, what? In fact, it's a social construct which holds no...
That's a whole nother conversation. But I have not been allowed to go, to make certain posts and talk about certain topics. So I figured that I would go live. But I have to be very cautious and understanding that I'm being monitored and observed, right, at all times. So I'm gonna speak my truth. You know what I'm saying? But I also have to be mindful that the monitoring is at an all-time high, right? So we're being penalized for something that's happening on the other side. You feel me? And that's the only thing that pretty much seems to happen. It's like something happens over there and it prompts a response, right, from over here, because they know that we reactionaries, and then they position themselves, right, to have nets to capture whoever's willing to jump off the ledge. You dig what I'm saying? So something happens, right, and it prompts a response, and they know that we are very reactionary people, so then they put the spotlight on people who they feel are gonna make these responses or have conversations with the people and try to give them some direction or some focus. So let me do this, because I just don't want to be rambling. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot on my mind, and I'm, as best as I can, I'm attempting to concentrate and focus, what's going on.
But we're not just hurting, we're angry, we're mad. This shouldn't have happened. We do our best to be good citizens, to be good people. We believe in God. We trust Him. We treat people with decency. And we love even our enemies. And you expect us to keep doing this over and over and over again. Over again. Forgive and forget. While the people we elect and trust in offices around this country do their best not to protect us, not to consider us equal, not to love us back. What are we supposed to do with all of this anger, with all of this pain? I can tell you, this was not an easy decision for us to go public with this at a time. We're a private family. This was not easy for us. But how else can we honor our mother? How else can we uphold the things that she put in us, the things she believed in? How else can we do that? We're not just hurting. We're angry.
So this brother, this man, right, He is the ex-fire commissioner in Buffalo, right? His mama was killed in a supermarket, right? His mama was killed along with a lot of other people's mamas. You feel me? And ironically, as fate would have it, right, there was some very iconic individuals that was in that supermarket that got murdered, right, by this domestic terrorist. This man's mother, his 80-plus-year-old mother, was one of them. And she was well respected and loved in the community. And there was another political activist, right, who was also present at the time, who had put in over 60 years of life service in civil rights, right? And she was in the supermarket and she got killed as well. So as random as this shooter or this shooting was, right? Just think about this. Like, who are they praying to and who are they extracting? Right? Who are they extracting inspiration, information, and vision from, where they, even though these things seem to be so random, right, the people who they seem to take out are always top tier, reputable, right? The ones that we feel should not have been the ones to go, right? Because they are of a higher stature. They are good people, right? Some of the goodest people, the people in their community say they're some of the goodest people in the grandest of hearts, right? And they have meaning and merit in the community and in the lives of their family and the lives of others. Now that has to be said because, again, all of these are dovetailing off of other conversations and other situations. Case in point, all of this is still dovetailing off of the reverberations from the conversations had around Kevin Samuels. All of this is reverberating off of the conversations that we were having in the community around Young Thug and YSL. All of this is reverberating around the conversations that were being had around Kendrick Lamar's album. And what all of these things have in common is that they're all speaking to and identifying in real time the dysfunction in our community, right? And the normalization of the dysfunction, the way that we have seen to weave function into culture somehow, right? And we have taken what is considered on a social level of us the exceptions, right? And we've made the exceptions the rules. Now, we always had a place in our reality or our society for exceptions. You feel me? Don't come around here attempting to hold me to the fire if I attempt to identify what the exceptions are in our society, right? So the exceptions in our society, you might be like, oh, that's them niggas on the short bus, right? Them niggas is running society now. The exceptions in our society might be the junkies around the corner. Oh, them niggas is up. The exceptions in our society might be the prostitutes, right? You like, oh, they are here and they're doing a necessary service for the community. Oh, they leading shit right now, right? They're the ones that have possession of the flute and they are singing the tune that the rest of the people are following, right? Oh, that's a whole ass bitch. She was an exception at one point in our reality, in our society. It was only but so many of her. We could even keep an eye on her, right? Niggas even knew her bodies. You don't know it no more, right? Because she done multiply like Stripe and Gremlins, right? She's not the exception anymore. She's the rule, right? So we categorically live in a society where for somehow, some way, and it's an agreed upon social construct. Again, don't come at me for being the motherfucking messenger. But we live in a society where we be like, yo, there's throwaways in our society. There's undesirables in our society. There's useless eaters. There's bottom feeders in our society. That's the society. That's the culture. I ain't make this shit up. I'm a motherfucking reporter. And I'm a Sixer Club, so as the messenger, I'm just giving you the message. I ain't create this. I'm interpreting what I, can open my eyes and bear witness to. Right? But these people that's getting killed are not. These are not the throwaways. These are not the people in our quote-unquote community or on our society that are undesirables or bottom feeders, you know what I'm saying? Or useless eaters. This ain't who's getting Swiss cheesed by quote-unquote random domestic terrorists, right? And they're sending their children at grown folk. They're sending their grandchildren to kill the grandparents who got away from the plantation. That's what this shit look like. Right? And you talking about it being a motherfucking full moon in Scorpio, and this is the time to let go of things that no longer serve you. Right? And they not letting me get on this motherfucking Instagram and tell the world what no longer serves me, so I can make a public declaration to be like, yo, you know what no longer serves me? You feel me? I could say, the complacency factor, right? The fact that our people are compulsory Christians, right? And what does a compulsive Christian means? Compulsory, the definition of the word compulsory speaks to the fact that you are compelled to do a particular thing. So a compulsory Christian is compelled to have compassion, because those are the tenets that we have been sold and told Christianity has been built on. My thing is this: them niggas is reading a different Bible than you reading. Right? Obviously, they are reading the Bible and they're getting a different interpretation from it. Right? And what they are compulsed to do does not look like the shit that you are compulsed to do. As compulsory Christians with a melanated or color folk compulsed to do, go directly to Matthew 5:44. Go look it up right now if you don't know what the verse Matthew 5:44 stands for. Okay? That's what our people as compulsory Christians are compelled to do. Right? Go to Matthew 5:44. That is loving thy enemy. Loving thy enemy. My thing is this: you got to call a spade, right? And this is the perfect time to do it under this particular moon. Stop being scary. If we can't call bullshit for what it is, if you can't draw a line in your own proverbial mind or on your timeline to be like, look, this is what I'm going for, this is what I'm not, right? Then they're not allowing you to do the very things that you keep telling me that this moon is providing me the impetus or the compulsory energy to do. Right? I'm tired of this shit. Tired of this shit. Feel me? Tired of this shit. They up here killing grannies, y'all. People's grandmothers. So let's subtract. We in 2020. Right? So you take 20 years off of that. That leaves you with 60 years. You save 60 off of 100, you get 40. Right? So these women were born And these elders were born in the 40s in this country. They lived through King. They lived through motherfucking Malcolm X. They lived through Elijah Muhammad. They lived through Farrakhan. They lived through civil rights. They lived in a time before crack cocaine. They was born before dope was in the street. Right? These are entire libraries. Okay? It's bad enough we sat by and we allowed, as best we could allow, the medical mafia establishment to exterminate and eliminate thousands of our elders post 2020, right? Straight up. Just bodied them, right? Just washed them up. Check them up out of here. You out of here. You out of here. You no burial. You know, no dignified death. No, none of that. You feel me? None of that. Way before that. Way before that. Way before that. And no, the medical mafia did not kill Dr. Sebi. We're going to not allow that conversation to root or take place. Don't put his name in the hat with them other folks who might have got washed up that way. Right? His shit speaks to deceit and deception from your inner circle, your family, the people that are closest to you. Did it get you clipped? That's a whole nother conversation. So melanated people, they getting it from every direction. They can't trust themselves because they don't know themselves. How you going to trust somebody that you don't know? You a stranger to yourself. You can't trust those closest to you because they don't know themselves, so they couldn't possibly know you. And then we can't trust the people that are outside of you that do know who the fuck you are, and they sitting there looking at you suspicious like, oh, this nigga don't know who he is. Let me take advantage of him. Let me play with him. You know what I'm saying? Let me see how far I could get. Let me see what I could get out of this. Right? Let me test him every now and then to see if he knows or not. Every now and then, let's see if he know or not. You feel me? So, the compulsory Christians, right? They're taught something that it's a tenet that we cannot be dismissive of ourselves. So, before we talk about what we're gonna do, X, Y, and Z, right? It still requires us, right? It still requires us to not lose our humanity, right? And the way that you don't lose your humanity is that you never lose contact with compassion, right? But do not approach compassion from an indoctrinated, dogmatic sense of how they have sold compassion to Christians. You feel me? Like, I have to have compassion for this brother right here. I'm going to play it again.
But we're not just hurt. We're angry. We're mad. This shouldn't have happened. We do our best to be good citizens, to be good people. We believe in God. We trust Him. We treat people with decency. And we love even our enemies. And you expect us to keep doing this over and over and over again. Over again. Forgive and forget. While the people we elect and trust in offices around this country do their best not to protect us, not to consider us equal, not to love us back. What are we supposed to do with all of this anger, with all of this pain? I can tell you, this was not an easy decision for us to go public with this. We're a private family. This was not easy for us. But
So, this man lost his mother. You know what I'm saying? Before I start getting online and telling you what I would do or how I will respond or how I will react, I'm going to show my respect first and foremost that this man lost his mother. You know what I'm saying? So I have to exercise a level of compassion first and foremost to know that there was lives lost here, right? And I'm compassionate enough to acknowledge that. I'm compassionate enough to also know that as compulsory Christians, his response wouldn't necessarily be the same as mine, but that don't make me better than him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not willing to trade positions with him either. You feel me? So we have to exhibit compassion first before we're critical of how melanated people in particular are the only people on the planet who have showed you what compassion in Christianity looks like, because that is what we brought to the table as a superpower. We made the shit real. Whether you feel Christianity is real or not, right? It don't mean nothing to your nana and them. It don't mean nothing to your mama and them. It don't mean nothing to the people who have utilized it, even if as a crutch, to wobble their way, right, to wherever we're at today. And the evidence of whether this shit works or not is the fact that your ass is here. Okay? That's the evidence of whether it works or not. So, as much as people say and they're critical of religion, look at our people without religion right now. Because that's what you got, right? These little niggas is on demon time. That's our people devoid of any semblance of religion. When you take a crutch away and you don't replace it with nothing that's tangible enough, right, for them to stand on their own 2 feet where they can see themselves for who the fuck they are, you got what you got today, right? Which is a very inverted, perverted paradigm of whatever. This shit is just upside down. Like the little niggas wear the cross upside down. This shit is upside down. You feel me? And we know, right, from the fact that these babies is on demon time, we know the level of you know, we know the shit that they're capable of. Yeah, Stranger Things, for real, for real. It's the upside down world, right? Yeah. We can't really even hold a candle to this shit, because again, we don't have Christianity in our community, allegedly, right? But we got carbonation. So people is leaving from one form of indoctrination, right, and one form of compulsory Christianity to find themselves going into a cult, a full-blown cult, where niggas is now weaponizing their intellect and taking the information to put people on the fucking spells, right? That's what we doing with this information and with this energy. And with this opportunity that we have as a community to get some shit done. This is what we doing to one another. And we supposed to be quiet about the shit. They like, nah, you got to let that nigga cook. You know what I'm saying? That's them people's decisions. No, you call some bullshit because you know what? It fucks the whole brand up at the end of the day. You feel me? It fucks the whole brand up. Because what one of these niggas do, we all got a motherfucking share in that bullshit, right? What we don't get to share is a nigga's wins. If a nigga made $1 billion, nigga, we can't all run around like we got $1 billion in the bank like Jay-Z, right? But if Jay-Z fuck up, then it reflects on all melanated people, all melanated men in particular. You like, look at that shit. You feel me? Look at that shit. Y'all done fucked up $1 billion. You feel me? So there's things that are taking place in our direct vicinity, our direct community that we feel don't got nothing to do with us, but we are all connected. We're all threaded together, right? And again, if you don't believe that we're all connected or threaded together, let something happen and see how quick the motherfucking scrutiny comes down on the community. We don't even got no active shooters type of situations going on out there. And we still the ones getting monitored when they do something, right? When they community, when the white supremacists and the domestic terrorists pop off, guess who gets the extra monitoring, right? Us. They never said, yo, we're going to look through the manifesto, the 180-page manifesto that he wrote. We're not going to look through his social media and see who he listened to and criminalize them. But when that dude did the shooting in New York on the train, right, they was quick to tell you, oh, this nigga was listening to Umar Johnson, right? They was telling you all of that. Yo, we need to find out who he was listening to that radicalized him where he talks and thinks like that, right? But why they never said that about the plenty of white supremacists that's on 4chan and in the Reddits? Because they ain't pulled down 4chan yet, and they didn't go up and read it. He had names written on his rifle, on the gat, right? They have not pieced 1 and 2 together, right? They're not having commentary on TV saying, oh, why does he have the same insignia as the Ukraine neo-Nazis, right? No one has even pieced together the narrative about nationalism as it applies to this global white nationalistic movement that Trump was out here trumping for. Nobody even put that together. Shout out my brother Red Pill. He did these lectures, and I'm not just saying it because he's my brother. I'm saying it because this is where I got a lot of this information from. And had I not seen him put it together the way that he did, I would not have been knowledgeable, right? Of the things that was happening right in front of our face. Because we do not, as a community, as a larger community, and as a people, we don't control the narrative, right? We don't control the narrative, so we don't got the fullest of access to what comes through, how it comes through, when it comes through, right? We don't have a universal community bullhorn that we signal to be like, yo, let's all go watch that. That's why I shout out to my brother 19 Keys on a prominent platform such as EYL. Shout out to Brother Rich, of course, as well, right? This is like he could sound the alarm and get a general message out internationally simultaneously because of a platform like that, right? And there's been some powerful on-point programming that has been coming from that particular collaboration that has been made, right? What systems do we have of communication, of media, where we could talk to one another the way that we need to talk to one another right now? Because I can't do it to y'all. I can't do it for you. I can't do it with you on this platform right here. Right? So there's things that we need to do as a community just for the sake of communication, just so we can have a conversation together. Because right now we can't necessarily have the clearest and the cleanest communication, like, you know what I mean? Like we in the living room with one another, or we in the basement. This ain't that. You feel me? Yeah, we can't do a Zoom. We can't go in Discord, right? These are all the places, that they're like, oh, this is where they doing this at. This is where they doing that at. And they always do that, again, not to limit how the supremacists or the domestic terrorists is communicating, right? They do that for us. So now they could give an excuse to be like, oh, we got to extra monitor y'all to see how you respond to this. See how I respond to it. Come on, son. You feel me? Again, if this full moon is given the energy for you to terminate that which no longer serves you, I think that it's a time that you should have a self-audit with the things in your society, in your reality, that no longer serve you, right? And also, you know, coming off of the full moon is connected to the solar eclipse that we just experienced, right? And the solar eclipse that we just experienced, it was heavy on the or the last sign that we was in, Aries. That last new moon in Aries was dealing with Libra energy, dealing with relationships. So relationships has been a resounding conversation that has been permeating, you know, consistently, right? And it's like, are we being realistic? Like, if you have plans of existing and subsisting in this country, right, what's going to be the nature of relationship that we have with other people who don't understand our story? Whoever those people are, right? We ain't just talking about our light-skinned cousins. We could be talking about other people too. Other people from different continents that might look like us but don't think like us. We don't have the same values, right? I'm not unified with a motherfucker on skin tone or pigmentation. That ain't it, right? It goes back to, what are our values? Feel me? What are our values? Because until you establish values, right, what are you going to defend? What are you going to defend? And what you putting on for what? What's your end goal? Where do you see yourself in 10 years, 100 years, 50 years? What's your mental projection? Or you just stirring in the wind? And the niggas is picking you off because you stirring in the wind. And we supposed to sit up and defend that shit again, right? It's a lot easier to unite around some shit that you unite around. And having love for black life, having love for melanated, Moorish, carbonated life, or what have you, right? If we love our lives, then we should love enough to plan to be here 100 years from now. That's what the love looks like. The love looks like a fucking plan, a vision. One that's fully realized, so every single day we're reminding ourselves what we fighting for. What you fighting for? What you fighting for? Because somebody wants it with you, right? They keep fucking throwing jabs, my nigga. And you keep catching blows, but you have not swung back yet. Do you know what you're fighting for? Do you know what you're fighting for? Because they seem very clear on what they fighting for, right? They said the continuity of our species past a particular time. So they, in their mind, want to be here, and they're so paranoid about that shit that they chopping shit up to send signals. They want that smoke, if that's what it means, in order to be here. So it's not enough to say that you're a foundational black American. Where's your foundation at, nigga? Where's your foundation at? So the foundation of being foundational is land, right? You laying claim to the land, so what you doing with it? You putting food in it? You building homes on it? We doing training on it? We willing to fend for it? We spilling blood on it, right? We putting the shit in our babies' names. Our babies is born on it. What we doing with the land? What we doing with the land, rather than just saying we was born into this shit, right? Because again, land is synonymous, right? Land is synonymous with your connection to your God, because the land is tied to your root chakra. Why? Because the land gives you home, right? The root chakra deals with home. The root chakra deals with home and God, because you had to put seeds in the plant and in the ground in order for food to come up, which gave you a greater connection, meaning that when you put seeds in the ground, that's when your ass started praying, right? You didn't put seeds in the ground and be like, fuck you guys, suck my dick. Like, that's not the relationship you had with the Most High when we had to fend for ourselves and feed ourselves, right? And we had a relationship with the land because of that reason. It's not enough just to say that you foundational, bro. And if the emphasis is not on owning, controlling, or cultivating the land, because then you're not going to defend it, right? And if you're not going to defend the land, you have no fucking idea of what you would be fighting for if you even got some fight in you. And these people just going to come in here and clean you out every trip because your feet is on American soil and your mind or your brain is in fucking Africa somewhere, right? You can't fight like that. You can't defend your homeland like that, right? And you can't receive the blessings of the land. You can't. And it shows. And this shit is embarrassing. You feel me? Yeah, and we in Taurus season. We could talk like this because it's time. It's time that we had a real fucking conversation about safety and security. If we can't talk about protecting ourselves, what's the point? You feel me? What's the point? What's the point of being here? You feel me? You should be there. And there's no knock on the continent. I'm saying that your services will be best qualified if you render them where they're needed the most. But if you over here, my nigga, you should be building. You should have a relationship with the land. And then you will feel impulsive. You will feel compulsed to defend it. And then that's just going to change your nature altogether. Because once you find something to live for, then you're no longer willing to just freely die as a sacrifice. And we just bow our heads and pray. You feel me? And our people is getting killed at the hand of fucking children. Look, our children is killing and they children is killing, right? Our children is fucking out here killing and they children is out here killing. Okay? So it's not enough. We're not pointing fingers. You know? How you gonna exercise the demon? Now that Pandora's box is open on both sides, how you gonna exercise that demon? Now that Pandora's box is open, how you gonna exercise that demon? You gonna talk to these children? Huh? You gonna give them the hugs that they never had? How you gonna reach them? You don't even, you know what I'm saying? You don't even know their language. You can't even have a conversation with them. Yeah, their children are killing our grandparents. Our children are killing our children, right? So their children are knocking off the elders of the generation that have toiled and put in their fucking blood and tears, right? 80 plus years. Can you imagine what those eyes have seen? And they can't even leave out of here peacefully. They got to get taken up out of here by some little fucking... Right? But our children, again, taking out one another. You know what I'm saying? Our children is taking out one another. They have the audacity to take life. They have the audacity to take life, right? So they're taking out our future. Their children are taking out our past, right? And we're left here presently, stuck. Like, it can't be all about you. And I know there's a lot of teachings that teach us, yo, it's all about you. It can't be all about you right now. It's some shit going on that requires your attention and very well may require you to sacrifice some things. Feel me? It has to be about these children. It has to be about the elders if we're standing on their shoulders, right? Our elders are fearful right now. They should just be worryless, right? They should be preparing to transition into the next phase of things. They should have known that it's all of the, you know, whatever they have done, you know what I'm saying? They've done it successfully and they've handed off the banner, and the only thing that we're gonna do is grab the baton and run the race, continue it. But they're terrified, right? They're terrified. They feel like this is the terror campaign from the 60s again, in the 50s. But their children are ultra violent, right? They're hyper desensitized. You feel me? But they still don't make the elders feel safe. Think about that. That's crazy. These niggas is 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old killers. Right? Demon time. That's not making the elders feel any more safe. That's breaking their hearts even more. Right? So they don't feel safe around our children. They don't feel safe around the mother folks' children, right? And it's like, it's you know, my thing is like, I can't even listen to a Griselda record the same anymore. I can't even listen to a Griselda record the same. Feel me? Like the celebration that we participate in our annihilation, the celebration of our annihilation, the fact that we have made it music, we made it a culture, we made it a trend. You know what I'm saying? I can't even listen. Boom, 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 boom. All the thing I'm going to think about is that white boy in that supermarket. Feel me? It's the only thing I'm going to think about. Because there's no difference. There's no difference. Feel me? I mean, it's like every other ad lib is boom, 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 boom. I can't listen to Griselda the same no more. That might have to be my poem. I'm gonna start writing that. I can't listen to Griselda the same no more. It reminds me of the pain from that stove. I can't listen to Griselda the same no more. The spiritual meaning of spitting, it is absolving oneself from that which no longer serves them anymore. It's just like the energy from this full moon, you know. How are we going to absolve ourselves? How are we going to remove ourselves, eradicate ourselves, right? Full moons deal with energy. It deals with emotions. You know what I'm saying? I think that our people are very emotional right now because of what's going on. You know, it's very hard not to be emotional. There's nothing more human than, you know, engaging in some level of emotion, right? That's a natural thing with us. And we're naturally a Cancerian people. Cancer is the moon. You know, shout out to Aquarius Maximus. She said that years ago, and I've been reiterating it ever since because I wholeheartedly, you know, believe that. So, blood moons. Let's talk about the blood moon. Let's talk about, you know, I've been speaking about anybody who has followed me for that matter. If you've been on my line with me since like 2012 and beyond, I had something called the Blood Moonologues. And I had a lecture series dealing with the 4 blood moons that came in 2014, April 2014 to 2015. It was the 4 blood moons, right? It was 4 of them in a row. And these was 44 moons because one of them landed on April 4th. That was the day that they shot Walter Scott in his back, right? Which was the same day this year that they released the footage of them shooting the African brother from where his people was from, the Congo, right? They released the footage 7 years after they shot Walter Scott in his back in South Carolina, right? Where in Charleston, South Carolina, also where they did the execution at. Oh shit, I done cracked the code. So Charleston is where, right, the white boy went into the church and killed the 9 people at. One of them was a U.S. senator. That's what I'm saying. Like, these are no random shootings. And if it's random, what God is on their side, right? Because they both praying to the same God in the Bible. What God is on their side, right? Yeah, Dylan Roof, to give them the accuracy, the gall, the audacity, right? And the propensity to have such a chance encounter that they could shoot up some random folks and knock down a senator, right? Who would have been a viable opponent to Hillary Clinton in the next election, right? So the nigga killed a whole senator and he's still alive. Right? So Charleston was the same scene afterwards on April 4th, 7 years ago, 2015, when the 3rd blood moon came, because it was 4 of them in a row. The 3rd one is the same day that they killed Walter Scott, right? And it was the same incident. It was dealing with a taser. It was dealing with a traffic stop that turned to a taser that turned to them shooting him, right? 7 years later, which was April 4th of this year, they released the footage of them shooting that young man, okay, in the same manner. Both of them was 44 resonators, and it was on a 4-4 moon, right? And then now, here we go, on a Scorpion full moon, blood moon, super moon eclipse, that gives you a 6-month shadow. And guess when the next eclipse is? Guess when the next one is coming? November 8th, 2022. So they gave you a Taurus Scorpio axis full moon, and the next full moon eclipse is going to be a Scorpio Taurus axis. So they're going to roll this energy for the next year just based on how energy bounces from moon to moon. And we don't understand this science yet, but this is what we was fucking with, right? So now this information, this energy, this emotion is going to be on us, and we are projecting it, right? I didn't watch the footage, y'all. And if you haven't watched the footage yet, I would recommend that you not watch that footage. There's nothing there that you can possibly learn that you need to know. Okay? There's nothing that you need to know. You see some folks acting funny, you handle them. That's all you need to know. You don't need to watch that footage. I didn't watch it. To this day, I've not seen George Floyd footage. To this day, I have not. Why? Because I actually had a real life scenario where I got put in a chokehold by 12 NYPD officers. I do not need to see somebody else, right, getting choked out of their life. I'm sitting there looking at what? What am I possibly looking at? This shit is not entertainment. It ain't entertainment. I'm not getting nothing from this. So don't look at that footage. If you ain't a fucking crime scene investigator, my nigga, you don't got no business putting that shit into your consciousness. You feel me? Do not do that to yourself if you have not already. And if you have, right, that's the shit that you need to let go of this full moon. You need to do some deep cellular cleansing to release the energy that comes with the imprinting of that experience and the emotion that is now cellularly embedded in you. Right? You got to release that. You got to let that go. You don't want to be templated and imprinted by the moon and your projection for the next 6 months. Feel me? Is that particular image that you have in your mind. Because it's going to create fear. And now, this goes back to the shit that I was speaking about last week, right? With Kevin Samuels. And the frustration that comes from melanated men in particular, the way that they identify with him, and one of the main reasons that they identify with him. And that's the fact that we in a society and we in a reality that's fucking with us, right? But we don't got an outlet about how to deal with things that are fucking with us, right? So when you harbor this energy and this attitude that somebody's attacking you or somebody's doing something to you, or you have a natural enemy and you're not responding and reacting to that shit, and you don't got an outlet to get back to it, you're going to go fucking crazy, my nigga. Right? You're going to lose your mind. You're going to take it out on your woman. You're going to take it out on your children. And you're going to take it out on yourself, ultimately in self-destruct. Because you got this bottled up energy that ultimately is going to turn into fear. Because the only thing that your subconscious knows is that somebody did something to you and you ain't do nothing in return. Right? And you got to live with that shit. And you're going to be telling yourself reasons every single day. And then your higher self is just going to be like, I don't believe you. You need more people. Go do something. And that's the shit that got us out here in these streets fucking with all of the soft targets. Who's the soft targets? The niggas that look like us amongst us. They be like, oh, it was a crime of proximity. They out there doing black on black violence because black folks is the closest to one another. Niggas is doing violence to one another because they hate themselves. Okay? And they're destroying themselves. You feel me? Because they are terrified about doing it to somebody else who they equate with God. Because not only do they feel like they're going to be on their fucking helmet in this life, they feel like they're going to be on a helmet in the next life. And that's what that indoctrination of compulsory Christianity does to you when you believe that your God is right. Right? Now, let IG go censor that. You feel me? So, that's what we looking at. We looking at psychological breakdown. Feel me? We looking at a psychological breakdown of a people who are incapable of restoring their manhood. Feel me? Listen to what bro said with full compassion in your heart.
But we're not just hurt. We're angry. We're mad. This shouldn't have happened. We do our best to be good citizens, to be good people.
the deepest level of compassion for that brother. You know what I'm saying? Because I would not be willing to change places with him for nothing. You feel me? I would not be willing to trade places with him for nothing. Right? I ain't finna be sitting up here and saying what I would do if something happened to my mother like that. That's not necessary. Right? I wouldn't wish it on nobody. Who was that? That brother was the ex-fire commissioner of Buffalo. Okay? And his mama got killed in that supermarket by the domestic terrorists. That's who that was. Right? That was a son of an 80-plus-year-old mother who got gunned down in a supermarket. And he was the ex-fire commissioner. So he engaged in public service for his community. You feel me? I have a mineral ministries. I'm a minister. I've been a minister for 2+ years. And my thing is this, right? I was always in the mindset that if they teaching the Bible, right, to the other side, to your light-skinned cousins, and they hear the word different than you do, and they radicalize themselves and get some shit done, they utilize that information to conquest the whole planet. So we know, in essence, it's not just a book that speaks of peace, but it's also a book that can inform you about how to properly go to war. Right? And again, the evidence of it is the fact that your ass is here. Whether you was born here, whether you foundational, or whether you came on a boat. What you all got in common is that you ended up under somebody's foot who was compelled to take inspiration from that book and drive the way that they have driven all the way around the fucking planet and off the planet. Big steppers, yes. Right? So what are they reading in that book that allows them to big step? But every time that we read the book, it makes us bow our head and be docile. You're reading the book wrong. You're reading the book wrong. So it's not practical for me to say, let's throw the fucking book away and try to figure this shit without the book. No. If the book is what got us here, goddammit, then very well, there might be something in the book that might get us out. Right? Because look at our community, look at our people without religion. Look at them. Even with consciousness and spirituality, what is their foundation? What's their values? What's their ethics? What's their morals? And what's their vision, right? Where they're taking it. So we did a sermon yesterday, and this sermon was about forgiveness. It was about forgiveness. You feel me? And what I pointed out about the Bible within itself is that the Bible is a book about forgiveness, right? They say that Jesus died, okay, so he could absolve humanity, past, present, and future, of all of their sins. Nigga, that takes a heart the size of an ocean, okay? He wrote a blank check, allegedly. Again, whether this shit is real or not, whether it's real or whether it's a mythos, right? Look at the level of compassion that one person must have, or the level of love that they have in their heart, to say that I'm going to absolve, somebody else's sin. I'm going to take a hit for them. That shit crazy, right? That shit crazy. Before we even get into all of that, right, and people attempt to be supernatural, you feel me? I challenged the audience and I challenge you, okay? Forgive yourself. See how hard that might necessarily be. Utilize this information and utilize this energy of this moon to forgive yourself. Start with you first and see how powerful that is. Forgive yourself that you don't have an answer to white supremacy. Forgive yourself that you can't defend yourself or them babies that you brought into the world. Forgive yourself that you looking at that melanated woman and you like her assets, but you can't protect those assets. right? Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself first. So you got to forgive you first before you forgive them. And then you forgive them to be like, yo, I forgive them because they couldn't possibly know who the fuck I am. Right? Because I didn't know who I was. So how I expect them to know who the fuck I am and I don't know who I am. Right? So I got to forgive me first because they caught me slipping. They caught me slipping, right? They couldn't possibly know who I am because I didn't know who I was, right? Let alone they didn't know who they were. So there's a lot of forgiving that has to take place, right? But once I take back that power and I know who I am, right? And I protect it because now I covered it. Because now I remember what it feels like to not have that power and somebody else had that power over me. Now I take that back, right? And I can properly lease or license my love to whoever properly qualifies it. That's dealing with your relationships with yourself. That's dealing with the relationships with the Tamahu, right? Or your light-skinned cousins. That's dealing with the relationships that we have man and female wise, right? That's dealing with the relationships across the spectrum. Once you take your power back by forgiving yourself, right? Because again, the subconscious programming also says that you contracted to be here. So if you contracted to be here, you saw the whole contract. So you knew that, oh, this was going to happen to me. That was going to happen to me. This was going to happen to me. That's going to happen to me. But what you can't do, or what I will not allow you to do, right, is to deal with that shit like a victim. Right? I'm not going to allow you that. I'm going to take that crutch from you. I'm going to say, stand up on these motherfucking feet of yours. Right? Forgive yourself. Because somewhere along the way, you slipped. Somewhere along the way, you made a bad decision. Somewhere along the way, you feel me? There was a sign that you didn't see. Or even when you seen the sign, right? Or even when you were subject to the abuse, you still went back because it was something that you was looking for, that you felt that person, right? Now, oh, like, damn, I'm missing something. I got to go back and get it. That's your power. That's your power that you're looking for. That's your power that you feel naked without. Right? But you got to call that power back. You got to call that power back. You got to draw that power back into you. You have to know that it never was gone. It was, improperly out there on lease. Like how somebody takes a library book out and they don't bring the shit back. It was like that. But you tracked it down and you found it, right? And you find the person, but you got your power back. And once you have that power back, then you got to treat that power totally different. And that's where we at as a people, right? Let's say that we got our power back. Let's say power's coming back. Let's say it's slowly being restored to us. How are we going to deal with disrespect? How are we going to deal with violations? How are we going to deal with infractions? Right? How are we going to deal with somebody breaking our heart going ahead? How are we going to be in proximity and deal with people that are in our company that don't know us? Right? How are we going to deal with that? Or do all tides lift boats? So is it really the golden goose is just us knowing ourselves and then people automatically are going to deal with us different? You feel me? Is that what it is? Because everything is energy, and we live in a vacuum, right? Or should I say a fishbowl? So nothing is disconnected, right? High tides lift all boats. So the more that we work on us, the more that we claim our power back and strengthen up, right? Then we no longer become products of our environment. Our environments now become products of us, right? Because we lift everything up in our circumference. That's what enlightenment is about. That's what, you know what I mean? Really, really utilizing this information to level up and to create, you know, increase your bandwidth frequency. That nothing can fuck with you. That's how you do that. Gotta find ways to transmute the pain. We have to find ways to transmute the pain. And we also gotta be honest with ourselves. There's too much posturing taking place, and we not keeping it real. You feel me? It should not be whole 2020 and we still don't have 2022, and we still have not formulated an answer for this yet. We still not have formulated a solution for this yet. Feel me? We need an answer. We need a solution. We need an operable one as well. We need to be moving towards something instead of stand still. Oh man. So I'm definitely not gonna hold you long, family. I just needed to speak and get it out of my system. It's a shame. It's a damn shame. You know? Rest in peace to them. Rest in peace to them, you know, to the people who lost their lives senselessly. Yeah, you know, grandmothers, yo, elderly black women, melanated women, you know what I'm saying? We gotta do better. Yeah, rise in power to them. Go light some candles for them tonight. You know what I'm saying? And just sing a song. I'm gonna sing a song to them. I'm gonna put some spiritual on for them. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was, you know, that was somebody's mamas, the grandmamas. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, however you show up with your dedication, ceremony, acknowledgement, you know, however you do it, you know what I'm saying? Or if you don't choose to do it at all, that's also, you know, a decision. So it's all good. It's all good and understood. Tomorrow I'm gonna do a clubhouse, and you know, I want to see if we can seize on the opportunity while it's in our midst to at least have a conversation about the frequency. Right? To at least have a conversation about the frequency. Like I said, case in point, you know, I can no longer even listen to Griselda music. It's too hyper violence. And when I hear the gunshot ad-libs, I'm thinking about Buffalo. And I ain't even see the video. You know what I'm saying? it smacks of hypocrisy to me that I could engage in entertaining that as entertainment, but be so upset when a white boy come and do the same thing that them brothers is rapping about. Feel me? I got an issue with that personally. Right? I got an issue. I want to talk about the frequency of this music. I want to talk about, you know, the universal synchronization of the fact that on a Scorpio full moon, you know, that we seen them take down the slime, you know. We seen them take down somebody who was synonymous with sex, money, murder, which is a Scorpion Taurus axis. Taurus is money and Scorpion is sex and murder. So we got a Scorpio full moon in the sign of Taurus, which is this mirror reflection. Feel me? So I'm looking at the symbolism in that, and I'm like, okay, this is a direct connection and a direct correlation, right? And then Kendrick comes out right after that, right? And it was almost like a purge by fire. And then the young boy died the next day, Lil Keek. And Young Thug could be seen on video saying that he felt that Young Keek was like a J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar artist. And this brother, he was on his label. And he's like, yo, he got conscious bars, but he won't spit them because the industry don't support that. Right? He want to sell millions of records and get to the levels that I'm at, but he's not being his authentic self. Right? So he's calling him forward to be his authentic self. And whether he didn't just say that, but the video is now playing on social media, and this moon is dealing with you having the ability to go into the darkness or the shadows and be your authentic self. And what does that look like? It looks like you wrestling with your own angel, like how Aaron had to wrestle with the angel. You wrestle with the angel, you're going to see that the angel got your face. Right? Your angel has your face. So you wrestling with the weaker self, your lower part, the thing that no longer serves you, that you need to, you know, you need to remove from your vessel like excrement. Scorpio, right? Scorpio, because Scorpio is not just the sexual reproduction, it's also elimination, from what I understand. Right? Elimination and transformation. So, and what you call it is a Leo, right? We know the Young Thug, he's a Leo. So the sun, right? Dealing with this solar energy, this eclipse energy, this full moon eclipse energy, you know, it's some it's some deep things that are going on, you know, that the universe is conveying through us through signs and symbols. And I want myself, and I want people who I care about. Obviously, you know, I love and care about you guys. I want you to be astute as possible on this particular journey where you can see things for what they are. What you choose to do with this information is totally up to you, right? It's totally up to you. But at least I want you to see it for what it is, right? Because if we can see it for what it is, then we can make better decisions about what it is that we're observing, how we're navigating this, right? Where we're prioritizing our energy to. You feel me? So we don't get caught up. We don't get caught up. Okay, Little Key is a Taurus. Boom. There we go, right? Leo, sun. They said Little Key was like his son, Taurus. The sun is in Taurus. The moon is in Scorpio. May that young man rest in peace. I'm not familiar with his discography. I don't know any of his music, but he was very impactful to a younger, more youthful audience who, you know, they speak about him. They was hurt. They was hurt. They lost another one. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm a Scorpio, so I can't even be sitting here and pretending to be super duper melancholy. We're like, yo, we can't lose another one. Like, I'm realistic, so I already know we're going to lose a lot more. You feel me? And there's something spiritual in us losing. You know what I'm saying? Because we're losing, but we're always winning, right? I refuse to buy into any predicament, right? The victory is any other than ours, right? That's just not a reality that I'm ever willing to entertain. Will it be, you know, possibly, you know, a little bit long, you know what I'm saying? Like, do we got to go down a further path as opposed to a shorter one? Possibly. But ultimately, right, we will all end up in victory. But life is a classroom. We're here in the classroom to learn a lesson. So I'm always teaching, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm always learning. And that's all I just wanted to share with you guys. You know what I'm saying? I take these opportunities as teacher moments. And obviously I was impacted because Instagram will not let me write. And I write different than I talk. You know what I'm saying? So I'm more meticulous and careful when I'm writing. I'm more calculated. I'm more poetic. You know, when I talk, I'm just speaking from my heart. And the way that my human design is set up, I don't think, you know, I say what I'm saying and then I think about it after it's said. So if I said anything that offends you, you know what I'm saying? That's my apology. Black Dot and AA, they say it way better than I can. They be like, if I say something to offend you, that's the answer. Something like that. You know what I'm talking about. I don't mean to offend you. And if I said something that is helpful to you, yes, that's the ancestors. You know what I'm saying? If I said something to offend you, that's, you know, my apologies. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I said something that was offensive in the face of the adversary, then that's the ancestors too. You know, fuck they side. So, with that, peace, love, and light, y'all.